La da 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 da, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Just with Josh, episode number 35. We are out here, okay? I think the Matrix is in a frenzy right now. The hive is really stirred up. I'm not sure what's going on, okay? But Andrew Tate might have been poisoned yesterday. They're saying it could have been, an allergic reaction. It could have been somebody slipped something into his water and literally poisoned him. And the elites might have poisoned Andrew Tate. And ladies and gentlemen, to be completely honest with you guys, I think the elites might have slipped me something as well. They slipped me a 50% off coupon at Domino's Pizza, man. I don't know if you guys have ever eaten an entire Domino's Pizza large to yourself. I feel like shit. But, I managed to expel the poison. I threw up before I did the show, so I don't know if you've ever thrown up before doing something that makes you a little bit nervous. But it exhilarates you a little bit. It gives you a bit of a high, It's kind of addictive. Girls get addictive to that. It's called being bulimic. But fear not. I am at no risk of being bulimic. I'm at no risk of losing any weight. I will always be your host, Fat Fuck. Absolutely filling out these suits that I can barely cross my arms in. Or these suit jackets. And it's been a little bit it's been a little rough because I'm a little nervous because there's so many people that are watching the show now, an entire new audience, a lot of people coming in, a lot of eyeballs, ever since that Luis J. Gomez shout out, some involvement in the comedy community. It's been a lot more eyeballs, so I'm a bit more nervous than usual, and I can tell that the elites have their hands on me. They're coming after us. They don't want guys like me. They don't want guys like Andrew Tate. They don't want guys like Tim Dillon or Joe Rogan, spreading the truth on any level, okay? And we might not be like the highest level of this game, okay? We might be like a level 6. Like if Joe Rogan's like a level 2000 podcaster or like whatever comedian, then I'm probably like a level 7. Like I'm just like a little dungeon slime comedian, like just bouncing through. Like I have to fight my way up to the top, and I have like a lot of leveling up to do. But I'm grinding. I'm getting like new abilities. Like I got this new sword spin ability. I can go fucking clear a whole wave, get mad XP. That's like a metaphor for my comedic level. And there's some new folks. And I'm glad that I have that in my back pocket, the ability to, throw up whenever, the deep state sends, pizza my way that I can't handle, to try and over-encumber me, to try and fill my body with glutens and puff me up and make my pores all red so that I can't do the show. Ha! But the Just with Josh continues. The show must go on, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, I really got to talk about a couple things because we got some. We first of all, as a part of the weekly message, as a part of the general affirmations of the show at this point, let it be known that we are the last people. Okay, we're the last wave of humanity that are actual humans that actually think, feel, and see and do things on an individual basis and perceive reality on an individual basis or perceive reality at all, okay, that aren't completely zombified or under the effects of some kind of medication or some soma-like drug from Brave New World. With all these apparently, 40 or 70% of all drugs related to depression pills and whatnot are taken by women over the age of 45 because none of them are single, none of them are getting married. That's a new statistic that's out this week. But we know better here on the Just with Josh. We're not gonna fall victim to these pitfalls of society, okay? We know that we're the last wave of humanity. We're going to go nuts, okay? We're not going to judge people for saying crazy stuff. We're going to promote insanity. We are going to promote, peaceful insanity, obviously. Keep your hands to yourself. But as far as speaking freely is concerned, and let loose, like Eminem. Go listen to some Eminem, okay? Go listen to some old Eminem. There's this one song called Kids or Stan. where he's talking about, no, not Stan, sorry. But there's this old South Park parody with Eminem where he's talking about, like, telling kids about all the different drugs and why drugs are bad, you know? And maybe what we really need is, instead of pretending that, you know, all these harsh realities don't exist and that we shouldn't talk about them, instead of hiding from, you know, some of these things that we used to make fun of back in the 90s, maybe we should dig up the bones. You know, go into the backyard, dig up the dead dog, and take a look at its fucking corpse, you know, and see what's going on, instead of, you know, whining and crying about it and always, you know, just kind of like trying to hide from the truth. Okay? And, you know, we know what it felt like. All right? We know what it felt like, too. If you're in your 20s or 30s, I know most of my audience is within that age range. Most of the people watching this show are between the ages of like 18 to 24. We got some like people in their 30s. We got some older folks too. A lot of women actually, which is weird. I don't know why girls are watching this. This is not a girls' show. If you're a girl and you're watching this, it's the equivalent to Renaissance. I don't know what kind of information, you know, you're getting from us. But just so you know, like, all of my strategies are like bulletproof, so that even if you do try and like analyze them and like formulate a counter strategy, it'll ultimately be foiled because I have built-in mechanisms and recognitions of that, you know, type of like, this is unpalatable to the female mind, this type of knowledge. So don't bother if you're here to do counter Renaissance for the other species, the female species. Don't bother, because you won't get through. You just won't be able to. Even your like greatest female minds won't be able to decompress the compression of files that I'm uploading right now. Okay, these mental compressed metaphorical files. Okay, but we knew what it was like. All right. I remember, and if you've ever played, we got a lot of gamers that watch the show. If you've ever played Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you know, it's really beautiful when you're a child in the game. But a part of the game, one of the features of the game, why it's called Ocarina of Time, is because in this game you have an ocarina that lets you travel between the future and the past. So you can go from being a child to being an adult. And a part of this game and this experience is, as a child, the world is under the rule of Princess Zelda, and it's a lovely kingdom, and everything's kind of under the sense of order. And then as you age, and then you go into the future, symbolically the entire world goes to shit, becomes apocalyptic, an evil wizard takes over, and ultimately the whole point of the game is you have to travel through time to collect the pieces and hints necessary to overcome this evil, to reseal the evil that has taken over, to reestablish an era of peace and humility and kindness to the land, like the hero of time. And that's Link's name. He's the hero of time, and he has to rise to the occasion to save the people from the evil that has come upon them. And when you use the ocarina and you go into the future, and you're no longer a child and you're now an adult, and you pull the large master sword made of metal, and you fully wield it, and you can hold it entirely. Unlike when you're a child, you have to hold it with two hands. Now you can hold it with one hand, and you step out into the city, which was once this beautiful town, this castle town, that you would experience, you know, this beautiful part of the game as a child in, but now you're an adult, and you just see it's in complete disarray and decay, and everything's been destroyed and abandoned, and the townspeople and the people that were running around have been replaced by zombie-like weird creatures, and they grab onto you and they scream when you get close to them. And it kind of, you know, reminds me of what we're dealing with now. It's like, I remember when the type of world we grew up in, it's not like we're looking at now. I mean, I feel bad for the kids that are coming into this world with the types of people. You know, you still got people wearing masks. You know, you're still seeing people when you go into the grocery store that are wearing masks that still are they're kind of conforming to this idea. And sometimes you're even expected to still conform to some of these places, depending on, you know, where you're at. You know, people are still, in China, for example, they're only just getting out of their COVID lockdown now. And I think, in a sense, we're seeing all this based and red pilled, all this Sigma Chad shit, you know, all this Andrew Tate shit. You know, we're calling on a hero. You know, we need the hero of time. You know, we need Link. Like, we need somebody to save the fucking princess from the evil spirit that has taken over this land. And frankly, we need a hero. And, you know, and we've got a couple of different guys, a couple different warriors rising. But eventually, the time's going to come where it's not going to be a battle of words, maybe. And people need to prepare themselves for every case scenario. They need to be thinking about the worst possible case scenario for the sake of survival. And perhaps for the sake of trying to stave off that from happening. Like, we don't want our parliament dissolved. We don't want our, you know, total government to collapse. We don't want to have to, like, we don't want to have to be invaded by another country and not have the resources to defend ourselves. We don't want to have a depression where we can't afford, certain types of food. But we're really headed into that situation. And it seems like every time, someone tries to stand up to say something about it, they're kind of getting knocked down. It's kind of like a game of whack-a-mole. It's like a big planetary game of whack-a-mole. Andrew Tate pokes his head up, whack. Joe Rogan pokes his head up. They try to whack him. It doesn't work. They've been whacking guys like me. Guys like Sam Hyde, guys who have been trying to put out a message, trying to, have a part in the media. But anyone who doesn't fall in line with their message, anyone who's not a part of their company is immediately blacklisted and blackballed. And geez, even the little bit of notoriety this show gets, I get a bad reputation. I get blackballed, and I'm not really, I'm not really. Goddamn, like, if you don't like the show, don't watch it. Like, I'm not hurting anybody. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? But some people, like, they just, they want to come. They got their torches. They got their pitchforks sharpened. And, they just want to go at anything. They don't need a good reason, And I guess that's why we're supposed to have a police force and stuff. But I just don't know. I don't know. Like, we're still getting censored. They're still knocking down the guys that are trying to speak truth to power. Like for example, Elon Musk's Twitter, he's still banning, like, random motherfuckers. Like, random motherfuckers are getting banned. Like, why? Like, I got banned for 7 days off Twitter for calling somebody up, I'm not going to say the word, the F word, the FAGGOT word. Yeah. And, I don't know, man. It's like, what are we here? Like, are we kids? And I don't know. I don't know if they poisoned Andrew Tate or not, for real. He seems to think he was poisoned. Maybe he's a little, skitsy since he got out of jail. I don't know. I support Andrew Tate all the way. I'm all for. I haven't spent money on his program. Like, I haven't gotten on his Discord or anything. But anyways, it's just being fed, and it's being fed, and you're starting to see. Like, even women are kind of starting to change their mind. My sister, who's like the ultimate feminist, she'll probably listen to this a little bit, and but she sounds like she's kind of coming around. I don't know. She's sending me these weird movies, this weird based and red pilled stuff. I think even some of the like more like unaware people are starting to kind of come around to the idea of what's going around. They're not willing to die on this whole transgender hill. Like a lot of funny enough, like that, it's not even really that seems to be bothering them. But a lot of women, what they're worried about is they actually buy into this pedophile elite ring, say like child sacrifice shit. They think that's going down. Most girls, that's what they're worried about. They get all superstitious. Women just need a good story to believe. Okay, women just need something like a flashy idea. They need something glittery to like get behind. Okay, they don't need something that's like very sound. You don't got to convince them with like a heavy logical argument, okay? You just got to put on an episode of Criminal Minds, and then you just got to put some shit on them. You got to spice it up, sell them a story, okay? That's all girls want, okay? They're not like Inspector Gadget. They're not, tell them what they want to hear, okay? You know what? Put them in the kitchen, have them barefoot and pregnant, making sandwiches. If you got a bro that has transitioned at this point and he's already past the point of no return, that's fine. Get your bro barefoot and naked in the barefoot, pregnant and in the kitchen making sandwiches. He doesn't have to be naked. I don't know where I got that. But yeah, take a stand, gentlemen. Don't let these ladies run all over you, because they're gonna be crying in a couple years when the economy's totally collapsed and they need people to like run around and collect wood for them. Okay, and I guess one of the big things that happened this week is they fired Tucker Carlson from Fox News. You know, that's cool for him. I guess he can go do his own thing. I always thought he was kind of like, I don't know, acting a little bit. Like, he seems like he really scripted. Like, I remember watching his new video he put out on Twitter. You could see his eyes going like, yeah, and this is why the liberals suck. And people who kicked me off my show are gay. And he was doing this, and his eyes were going back and forth. There's no, like, telegraphed or teleprompter. There's nothing projecting the words for the Just with Josh. We don't roll like that. Everything's off the top of the dome, fresh from the press. Yeah, fresh grapes. You know, only the finest, most ripest grapes for the Just with Josh. So fuck Tucker Carlson. He doesn't stand a chance against guys like me. I don't have a script. My show's better. I don't know what to say. Now he doesn't have a big show anymore. He has an audience, I guess. You know, that'll follow him, but whatever. You know, he's out. He's old. Out with the old, in with the new. I don't think he should run for president. I mean, if Tucker Carlson's going to run for president, Joe Rogan needs to run for president. I would much rather have a Joe Rogan president than a Tucker Carlson president. And I think Joe Rogan would wipe the floor with Tucker Carlson in a presidency. You know, maybe Elon Musk should run too. Who gives a fuck at this point? All right. But I don't know, guys. I think we need to keep it up. I think they're gonna poison Andrew Tate. I think they're gonna start executing their political enemies, these government officials, and you know, kind of like how the Saudi Arabian government executed that journalist. Oh my gosh, this is horrible that I'm forgetting the name. In that country in the Middle East last year. Like, they're going to start doing stuff like that here. They're going to start doing the things that they do in Russia, the things that they do in China. Like, where in Russia right now, if you try and even talk about the war, if you even open your fat fucking mouth to say something about the Ukraine war, you're just immediately ushered off camera. And that might be happening on, like, a more subtle level. You know, here, maybe this show is going to be, you know, ushered off in like a minor way. Maybe it gets suppressed. I don't know. Actually, the numbers have been doing good recently, so I doubt it. So I think we're still under the radar, but I don't know. Like, if there was a video where there was a guy in the middle of town square in St. Petersburg doing interviews regarding the Ukraine war, and he wasn't saying anything. He was just had his camera running, and he would let people come up, and then as soon as they would open their mouths, the Russian police would swoop in and arrest them immediately before they can even open their mouths. And you know, I can't see why they're not going to start doing that stuff here. Like, they really have like less morals. They've really degraded what it means to be an independent person over the years. They're really like pushing down, like they've really, this idea of individuality being curtailed by the needs of the majority, by the needs of, like, they'll say, oh, well, society needs this, so it's essential that, you know, you curtail your freedoms for this. Like, that has become such a factor that soon enough you're going to have, like, our government, like, sanctioning the police to pull you off the street because you're not falling in line with their messaging, because it is going to be so important for their pocketbooks. It's going to be so important for their bottom line that you fall in line and that you're not saying something anything different than they are. They'll fucking throw you in jail for having a different opinion. And if that starts happening like it has historically, I'm fucked. I'm 100% fucked. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, they're gonna say, oh, well, this guy, yeah, you got way too much to say. You're way too much of a big mouth. Like, they're already, like, I know 100% they're gonna, like, guys, you know, I got God on my side, you know, like, God willing, you know, God willing for anything I do in my life at this point. Well, honestly, I guess that goes for anybody. But you know, I really don't want to see. I don't want to see myself go to, like, you know, become a political dissident prisoner, like a political prisoner. You know, that'd be kind of weird. It'd be kind of based. Like, I don't know. I read a lot of Hannah Suitcase. I read a lot of those old, Jewish survival books where they would, try and survive the Holocaust by living in their neighbors' basements and stuff. And I think that's cool. Like, I'll fucking go down like that, man. I'll fucking be like a freedom. I'll fight for freedom, dude. I'll be like storybook material. Fuck it. Make my life into a goddamn movie. Why not? Fucking put me in jail. Put me on the stand. Put me on the fucking trial. Justin Trudeau, do it. I fucking dare you, okay? I will fucking argue the shit out of my point. They won't have a damn camera in that room because they know better. Yeah, but because I would turn their asses upside down. They wouldn't be able to make an example out of me. I would tell them otherwise. They're pathetic. The level that those people operate, they're like children. The level that the officials in the Canadian government, these so-called leaders, these so-called political leaders who are running as these MPs, they have the brains and minds of children. They have the logic of children. They have such an underdeveloped perspective. They're so out of touch. Okay, they have no idea how this world works. It's almost like these companies sponsor them to get into these positions, and they put in these man-children into power because they know they're not going to do anything. They know they're going to have a bunch of wet, spongy, do-nothing politicians sitting and filling up positions so that they can just get passed through a bunch of bullshit. Okay, they're not going to get a viper like me in there to tell them off. They're not going to let somebody like me speak for 10 seconds. They're never going to give me that platform. That's why I gotta go and anyways, I'm a comedian. I'm not a politician, and I would have never run for office to begin with. But I mean, I gotta be able to talk sense about it. I gotta be able to make a comment. I gotta have to speak some truth to power on that shit, because it's a nightmare. I swear to God, if Jagmeet Singh, Jagmeet Singh, our Indian premier of in Canada, who props up the Justin Trudeau's government with his government, where they're just put two minority governments, and he's created a coalition to give him the vote together on everything. It's like some Nazi shit, like they like how they took over the fucking Reichstag, and they're just passing through all these crazy fucking bills, taking over our internet. Yeah, fuck them. You know what? I'll go to Parliament. I'll set it up. We'll do the Just with Josh on the goddamn front lawn of Parliament. We'll set it up. We'll do an episode every goddamn night. We'll do 100 episodes in a month. All right, right on the front lawn of Parliament if it comes down to it. Okay. I don't know why, but I keep having this dream. Okay. I'm in this dream, and I don't know why, but I have this vision in this dream where I'm just being they're rounding up the guys. They see me they're like, oh, that's Josh. We got him. They're rounding me up. They got all these soldiers. They're just throwing rags around my wrists. They just put a bandana around my forehead, and they're just lining up the firing squad. And I can just smell the gunpowder because they're just taking people out and lining us up. And I'm just like, just fucking do it. Just do it. Just do it. And then I just wake up. I don't know what it is, but I'm just sitting there with my knees, with my hands bound behind me with the cloth. And they're like, 3, ready, men. And I'm like, just fucking do it. I don't know why I keep having that crazy dream. Isn't that crazy? I don't know why I play a lot of, Uncharted. Play a lot of Uncharted. Played a lot of Call of Duty. So, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy, scary dream. I would never want to do something like that in real life. That would be awful. Imagine being executed for no reason. That would suck. Just do it? Whoa. That's crazy. Who would say that? Is that me? Surely not. But it's kind of bullshit. You can't say anything. Couldn't say something like that on Twitter. Because you'd probably get silenced for 5 days. Like I've been, because I called somebody and I don't know. And the thing about Twitter is when you commit a sin, it asks you to apologize, and you have a choice to apologize or wait, however long for them to actually respond to your appeal, which might take longer than the 7 days, could take months. So then you just have to admit, sin to some auto moderation bot. which isn't really that important, but it's kind of like, we're being facilitated by this system, like our ability to spread our awareness and put out our message. It's just being caught in the system by this auto moderator. Like, I was putting up millions of impressions a week, and honestly, it was a good way for me to get away from Twitter, because I was getting too into Twitter. Okay, if you're not into Twitter right now, you got to get into Twitter. But I was getting too into Twitter. Okay, and I was really in the Matrix. But it's we're living in a controlled system where it's kind of monitored from the top down, and they have ways of controlling their dissidents, people who speak out against, people who spread a message, and like, it's kind of like the game Half-Life 2. Like, I don't know if you probably heard of Half-Life 2. It's a game by Valve, and it's a game about, how these humans were performing these science experiments, and they tore open a big portal, they tore open the fabric of reality and opened a portal between time and space into another part of the universe, and they allowed another alien species to come through their portal. And this alien species was actually being chased by another alien species called the Combine. And the Combine's goal was to absolutely take over this other species. And so it chased this species through the portal that the humans opened, that, this other alien species was escaping through to try and, escape this conquest that was happening to them by the Combine. So now there's these two alien species fighting for, one of them fighting to enslave the other, and one of them fighting for survival, and the humans just trying to close the portal and manage, the situation in a science facility where everything went kind of freaky sideways. But ultimately, so many aliens end up pouring through this portal in this science experiment facility that the Earth is overwhelmed with aliens, overwhelmed with Combine and their advanced technology and their armies of aliens. And they quickly, over a period of 8 hours, called the 7-hour war, the 8-hour war, 13-hour war, I have no fucking idea, I can't remember. But they take over the entire planet of Earth. And humanity is essentially subjugated to a completely top-down controlled, alien-controlled, mind-controlled, water that makes you forget type system. And I don't know if we've been taken over by aliens, maybe secretly, but I can't see why else there would be so much down pressure on fellow humans. Like, I guess it's nice to be rich. Like, it's nice to be rich. It's nice to have unlimited money. It's nice to, be a king. It's nice to have, slaves. It's probably cool to have slaves. If you're a type of guy that has a lot of slaves, it's probably not that bad. Maybe that's what it is. There's not enough slaves to go around. There's 30 million slaves, apparently, in the world. There's more slaves in the world now than there was at any other point in history. But it's not enough, apparently. Apparently, the biggest growing economy in the world is slavery, and it needs more slaves. So personally, I don't want to be a slave, but according to Andrew Tate, once again, before he was poisoned this morning, I received an email. Before I received notification that he was poisoned, I think it was yesterday, at some point before that, I received an email before him saying that the window has closed, whatever that means, and that he warned us, and that essentially now the rest of our life is just going to be about accepting the fact that we weren't quick enough, and it'll be about understanding and accepting the sin of not being fast enough, not being money hungry enough, not wanting to succeed enough, not wanting to escape the matrix enough, because now the window's closed. So if you're not rich now, if you haven't made your billions, if you're not a multi-millionaire yet, if you haven't gotten your Bugatti, okay, it's done. Okay, there's no more of that. Okay, now is the time to just get comfortable with being poor. Okay, maybe you want to stock up on beans, so that way you can compensate. You You can subsidize your cricket. You can supplement your cricket diet with a little bit of beans. You know, it makes it a little bit more palatable. Maybe you stir a little bit of the crickets into your canned beans, so that way you can, a little bit of crunchiness in there. A little bit of Parmesan crickets in your baked beans. Ooh, with your beans and toast. God damn. A little bit of crunchy crickets, Parmesan with your beans and your toast. That's a good meal. That'll be a great Canadian classic breakfast. Like, forget about bacon. Forget about hamburgers. Drink your water that makes you forget. Submit to your alien overlord pedophile elite. Eat your Domino's pizza poison. Take your fucking 50% off coupons until you're dead. And don't get too rowdy on Twitter. Okay? Don't get too rowdy on Twitter. Don't say too much because we're going to shut you up. All right? And that goes out to all the guys like me. And just get used to it and don't fight it, okay? Because we're going to have 15-minute cities. We're going to have nice little cities within cities, 15-minute cities. So maybe Toronto will be like, instead of being one big city, it'll be like 100 other little cities. And like everything you need will be in that city. And you won't ever need to leave that city. And then like there might be like a police checkpoint in between these cities. There might be like guards armed with assault rifles telling you to calm down and that you don't need to go over and hang out with your friend in the Eastern District, in the Eastern Bloc, okay? Because you're not authorized today, and that the carbon budget cannot allow that type of maneuverability today. It's not a guaranteed, freedom of movement isn't a guaranteed human right or anything. And, you'll kind of appreciate it. You'll have your 15-minute city. And you know what? You'll just kind of get into it because the government ultimately, you don't want to push back, okay? You don't want to get crazy. You don't want to try and, stop them from using a supermajority to just run you over with laws and pass whatever laws they want and make it so that no matter what you do, you have no hope in you have no political chance of changing what they're putting in motion because it's just a constant march forward, okay? You can never lash out, okay? Because that's how they get you. Okay, you can never get angry. You can never take up arms, ever, okay? Because that's the number one thing. That's how they'll take you out. They'll sweep you up, okay? They are banking on that, okay? They're banking on you getting out of hand so they can just come and scoop you up. They can come and sweep you up into the dustpan, okay? All this talk, it's not working in their favor, all right? This is our strategy, making fun of them, ridiculing them, okay? Because that's what they hate. It's not working in their favor, all this talking, it's making them look bad, okay? And we're getting a lot of thinking done at the same time. They want us to do something. They want us to do something so bad, all right? They're sitting there like, why don't you be our good little slave and then do something? You don't want to be a slave, then do something. Go nuts, go crazy, lose your fucking mind, get angry, do something nuts, okay? Do one of these shootings like in the States. So that they can delete your existence. Okay? Because if they go nuts, if you go kill, you're taking all credibility from the freedom movement, because in no point in freedom, at no point in taking liberty back and standing up for freedom, at any point should you be depriving somebody else of their freedom to live. That's the complete opposite of this movement. And these National Socialists, these Nazis, some people, they think that there's a violence aspect that's necessary in this movement, that we're going to have to, take out some people. There's none of that. We're never going to have to conquest a leave. We're going to have to leave people alone. This is about freeing people from a regime. We don't want to establish another one. Okay, that's what they want. The powers that be. That's what they have control. They can use money to hire armies to pacify aggression. They understand physicality. They can fight force with force, but they can't hire comedians. They can't hire people to make them funny. They can't create truth. Maybe that's what they're trying to do by, creating bots and flooding the internet with them and, paying people like Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson, to manufacture consent, to create, these fake arguments. I don't know if Tucker Carlson is, or whatnot, or Don Lemon for that matter. But I feel like that's what's going on. If we're giving them that, they're not going to be able to compete on that level. They can't compete with Joe Rogan. All right. People are going to listen to people like Joe Rogan before anyone else because he speaks the truth, and the truth rings true. It rings 1,000 times louder than anything else. Okay. The truth rings 1,000 times louder than anything else anyone else peddles. Okay. So as long as we stay calm and keep our cool, it's like in the Bible, he says if your enemy's gonna, strike you, then you know what? Let them strike you. Let them come and hit you, okay? And if they hit you once here, you turn them the other cheek and you say, hey, get this side too, you missed a spot. That's how you treat these assholes. That's how you treat these lunatics. That's how you treat these violence people. Show them what a real man is, okay? Don't give in to their animosity. Don't give in to this retardation, this lunatic, this fighting, this violence. Don't give in to any of that, okay? All these, videos you keep seeing online where people are getting in fights over the craziest stuff. They're saying the N-word to each other and they're blowing up and trying to kill each other. It's absolute lunatic, mindless nonsense. It's antithetical to civilized society. If you're one of these people that get involved in one of these altercations, chances are you're never going to do anything meaningful in life, okay? There's never going to be any, because you're so destructive. You're so hell-bent on your own destruction. You're so infragile. You're so infragile with the fragility of life. You're so careless. How could you be so careless? You should be absolutely ashamed of yourself. How foolish could you be? Are you that fucking stupid? Like, you can hit your head hard enough and then you can really hurt somebody. You don't want to have that shit on your conscience, talking about enslaving, making people eat bugs and stuff. You don't want any of this stuff on your conscience. We need to uplift individuals and protect one another's dignity and protect and dignify one another as humans, as children of God, not to get all, white knighty, but there's been a lot of tomfoolery, a lot of gayness going around, and I just feel like it needs to be said. And I've had a lot on my chest. I haven't been able to tweet. And I guess I'm just not in that funny of a mood. But it's honestly it's a fight for what's right. You want to have a world for your kids to live in where things are going to be reasonably organized, where they're not just going to be settled under some kind of corporate overlord or some kind of you're not going to be paying TIF to like Amazon or Jeff Bezos. But you also don't want to, have a bunch of trannies. You don't want a bunch of Nazis running the place, executing trannies either. Even though it's almost like they deserve it sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. But, I don't know. But, it is kind of brutal. I'm going to say in most of these online videos, like 90% of them, like you're seeing these fights break out between these white people and black people. And it's like where the white guy will say the N-word. Like the black guy will tell them like, oh yeah, say the N-word, say the N-word. He might not even be like talking about it, but he'll just be like challenging him. And then the person will say it because like, I think a lot of white people think of it this way. They're like, the N-word's just a word. Okay. It's not a powerful thing. It's just a meaningless like word like any other, because we're civilized. We are dignified people and we don't give words that much power. But then you got these, these fellas, who completely will lose their mind. They're hauling off on these poor kids, who have the audacity to speak and utter these words, and they're straight up ready to kill them. And they think they're justified. They think they're allowed to, punch somebody's head off because they said the N-word at them or they called them an N-word. And now the government's giving it a term. They're calling it fighting words. They're saying if you utter a fighting terms, then you are warranting this type of violence to come upon you. So don't utter fighting words. Don't call anyone a nigger because they're allowed, they're allowed to blow your head off if you do. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know desegregation was a mistake. Now it's starting to make a little bit more sense. I don't know how if we're gonna have to set it back up like it was back in the '60s. I don't know. We're gonna have to start making two sets of fountains because people can't treat each other with, they can't sticks and stones don't break my bones, like they do. Like they can't just be adults about shit. The average maturity of the average adult has disintegrated so vastly and so quickly that we're now passing draconian and totalitarian laws regarding the use of speech in free countries and first world countries like Canada and the United States. But what else can I say, ladies and gentlemen? What else can we do? We're trapped in 2023. Where else can you be? You got to make the best of it. You got to keep uplifting it. You got to keep pushing against it. And you gotta make do with what you got. You gotta have an ambition. You gotta have a plan. You gotta hold out for a dream. You gotta have hope. You gotta have something to hope for. Because it's the hope that's gonna keep you going. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Because I'm about to do this. I'm about to head off to another city here. And it's going to be a little bit different when we get there. It's going to be a different grind in Toronto. Trying to do open mics, trying to get up on stage and doing what I'm doing here in front of other people. They're not going to listen to me drone on about vaccines for 30 minutes or any other bullshit. Like, they're going to want to hear jokes and stuff. So it's going to be a big learning curve. It's going to be a big change. But honestly, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it'll really bring my comedy up a level. I'll be able to do a better show for you guys. Probably going to be a vastly different set because I'm looking into places now. If anyone watching this show is from Toronto and you're looking for a roommate and you don't mind him shooting a show, a production like this, give me a shout out, and I'd love to work together on getting a room with you. And, so that's my plan. And, I just kind of living on a prayer, you know what I'm saying? Living on a prayer and hoping everything goes good and just kind of taking it one step at a time and, back to the big city. Yeah. And, I guess there's really not that much else I wanted to say. I hope everyone has a beautiful weekend. I hope I can get this up for Friday night. It's been lovely to speak about some of the stuff that has been going on. It's, get some of this truth off my chest, I guess. And, spread the good message. Spread out that good frequency. Let the world know that, parts of Canada are picking up the message. Relaying out the signal. Like an interconnected, Christ consciousness or some shit. To fight the New World Order. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for watching The Gist with Josh. This has been episode number 35. And it's been absolutely lovely. I'll see you next week. Go check it out on Twitter. If you haven't seen my Twitter page yet, go follow me on Twitter, The Gist with Josh. You can see some tweets. I throw some updates on there. It's been a lot of fun, though. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a beautiful night. Take care. Stay free.